Every year, billions of philanthropic dollars flow into the nonprofit sector to tackle entrenched socioeconomic crises like poverty, homelessness, and educational divides. Yet, despite this massive influx of wealth, these deep-seated issues rarely seem to shrink at scale. Instead, the organizations fighting them are caught in a perpetual cycle of financial panic and staff burnout. Society tends to applaud a specific type of charity. We celebrate the Lean NPO, organizations that operate on shoestring budgets, keeping their overhead costs as close to zero as humanly possible. This lean badge of honor functions as a systemic trap built on a glaring double standard. Corporate funders and high-net-worth donors explicitly demand massive, scalable results from nonprofits. But when they write the checks, they intentionally withhold the exact same financial and operational tools that they use to build their own corporate empires. To see how this plays out, look at how an organization actually starts. When a tech entrepreneur has a disruptive idea, the path to market is clear. This diagram shows the corporate model. Investors provide seed capital to build prototypes. Accepting early iterations will hit dead ends before finding a path that works. But in traditional grant-making, funders demand proven models and guaranteed outcomes before releasing a single cent. Nonprofits are asked to provide data-backed evidence to solve brand-new, evolving crises. But the people with the money refuse to underwrite the pilot projects required to actually gather that data. Funders are effectively telling nonprofit visionaries to solve systemic global issues on their own dime first. By denying seed capital, they kill social innovation before it can even begin. Even if an organization secures initial funding, they immediately hit a second wall, the overhead myth. This pie chart represents a nonprofit's total funding. Funders restrict their grants exclusively to programmatic costs, the direct services provided. As a result, overhead, which includes salaries, rent, and software, is crushed down to an impossibly thin sliver, usually well below 15%. A corporate donor will happily spend millions on enterprise software to track their own inventory, yet they expect forensic-level accountability from nonprofits, while forcing leaders to deliver it using a cluttered spreadsheet on a donated 10-year-old laptop. Then there is the compensation problem. Society applies a passion tax to social workers, expecting a commitment to a noble cause to offset a lower salary. A corporate donor might pay a management consultant 30,000 Rand a day to draft a strategy, but will heavily scrutinize a nonprofit director for earning a standard middle-class income. Because talent is highly competitive, this double standard has a direct consequence. Nonprofits constantly lose their best strategists and data scientists to the private sector, where the pay and wellness benefits are actually aligned with their skills. Starving an organization of basic technological infrastructure and competitive talent guarantees a fragile operation trapped in a cycle of retraining and burnout. Finally, we reach the survival phase, where organizations must weather economic shocks and plan ahead. This chart illustrates a healthy business. Cumulative reserves stack up year over year, building a cash runway to survive market downturns. But for nonprofits, a surplus is dangerous. Funders often slash the next grant or demand the money be returned entirely. Organizations are forced to zero out their accounts annually. Without a buffer, they are pushed into a state of perpetual instability, living from one restrictive grant to the next. Funders evaluate nonprofits on their long-term sustainability, while systematically stripping them of the very financial reserves that make long-term strategic planning possible in the first place. The entire life cycle is compromised. Innovation is blocked by a lack of seed capital, operations are starved of essential infrastructure, and financial reserves are wiped clean every year. Treating overhead, competitive talent, and research and development as wasted money represents a massive failure of imagination by the philanthropic sector. Corporate funders and philanthropists are demanding enterprise-grade, scalable impact, while forcing social leaders to tackle the world's hardest problems using broken, restrictive tools. Enacting systemic socioeconomic change is a professional endeavor. It requires professional-grade investment. If we actually want to solve entrenched global crises, the philanthropic sector must abandon this double standard. It is time to tolerate the risks of true innovation, fund the actual infrastructure of leadership, and finally discard the illusion that lean is always better.